Hello friends, it's Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks, and again I am so happy that you are joining me. Friends, in this tutorial we are going to make these beautiful little sacks. Now they are made with cotton and nylon. The burgundy one here is Loops and Threads classic cotton, 100% cotton, and the other two are Bernat Handicrafter. 100% cotton. I don't have the colorway for those two, but you just use your favorite color, okay? And the nylon part that's in them is Heart Scrubby Sparkle. And out of this one ball of Scrubby Sparkle, you are going to get so many soap sacks. I can't even tell you. I've made 3 and I've hardly touched this ball. So that's a good thing. I've also used these sponges. I bought them in a pack of 5 from the Dollarama for $1.25. And we're going to use our 22 needle machine, as well as I use my Clover Wonder Knitter. Now I'm going to have all the particulars to the yarn in the description box below. I will also have a link to the Wonder Knitter and a couple other things as well down there for you. So please be sure and have a look there. But as I was thinking about making a soap sack, I thought, you know, this could be a useful thing for a sponge as well, because the sponge will hold your soap, but the cotton and the nylon scrubby yarn will give a little bit of that abrasiveness that you need when you're cleaning your sinks or when you're washing your pots and pans. And I thought, I think you might like that. I know I'm gonna like it, so that's why I chose to make this a 2-in-1 video, really. So we have soap sacks and we have sponge sacks. Once you have your supplies ready, we're going to get going on this project. But friends, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and do check out the link to my Facebook group in the description box below. I am happy to spend this time with you, so let's get going, and please be sure and show me your projects when you're finished. Okay, friends, have fun. All right, friends, if you are ready, then I am ready. We are going to bring our last white and our first black needle in line with our yarn feeder, just like that. We're going to take some waste yarn. You want to choose a color that is contrasting from your working yarn so that we can easily see the stitches that we need to work when we have a project off. So I'm choosing black. I'm going to cast on in front of that first black, behind, in front, behind, in front. This is the drawstring cast on, and you're going to just let that loosely slip through your fingers. Don't put any extra tension on it. It should be behind that last white into the yarn feeder. Go slow for this first round so that those loops have a chance to go down over the red teeth and not split. If you see that when it comes by the yarn feeder here, if it looks like it's going in between those red teeth, that's splitting. And then you need to just take your loom pick and fix it. That's why you need to go very slow and have some patience on the first couple of rounds, making sure that everything is in line. This is row 2. I also like to pull this little loop down. This is 3. I do 7, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And before I get to the end, I'm going to set my row counter to 0, so I'm all ready to go. And I'm looking for that black divider to come around. I'll stop it right in front of my yarn guide there. Open your latch, cut off your yarn tail, which mine already was because I've used this before. You're going to pop it into the center between the last white, the first black. From there, my friends, you are going to take your 2 strands of yarn. I've got my nylon one here and my 100% cotton. And we are going to slip that into our yarn feeder, just like that. And into the middle, in between the last white and the first black there, okay? Then you can hold both tails, and you're going to just let this yarn slip gently into this yarn guide. Generally, I always hold it in my hand like this so that I can feel for knots or the end of the ball, etc. But I don't even want that minimal pressure on it because of the type of yarn that we're using. So you want to make sure that beforehand that you have made sure that there's no knots in a large strand of your yarn there, and just let it sit on the floor. And then we're going to just go slowly. We're going to let it just slip through that yarn feeder on its own. And I'm going to go slowly, making sure that that white needle picks up both strands and that that black waste yarn loop is going down over the red teeth. When you use cotton yarn, now it clicked on row 2. When you use cotton yarn, you have to have patience, friends. and nylon because there's no stretch in it, but it works beautifully. I've used it on several projects. You can go to my channel and you can see. If you go slowly and you don't put any extra tension on it, you will have much success. So this is row 2. Just clicked on 3. And one more, 4. See, this one's not going to go down, but I'm going slow enough I can watch it. Then I can just pull it down from the back here. Or if that doesn't work, take my loom pick, help it down over the red teeth, just like that. Making sure both of those strands are still in that little dip that's at the end of your yarn feeder. And if you have to take your hand and just go like this and push it down a little bit, you can do that too. And I see the black divider coming around, and I only want 4 rows of straight knit like this, so I'm going to stop when my last white and my first black needle are in line with my yarn feeder, just like that. Open my latch. I'm going to take this out, and you want to make sure that it's underneath this last white, because we still have to finish knitting this one and we have to knit this one. But we're going to bring the first 2 needles, the first 2 black needles, right in line with the yarn guide. See, just like that. Taking that yarn, we are going to go behind these 2 black needles, so it's trailing from underneath this last white one. This is needle 1, needle 2. We're going to go behind them, then we're going to go around that side, and we're going to go in between them. And friends, here's my tip. Loose. Not so loose that you have, like, you know, waste a lot of slack, but you just want them nicely to touch your needles and to just smooth, be nice and smooth, okay? And then we're going to go around this side of the needle and in between again. So you see how that was a figure 8. And we're going to knit those 2. Making sure the loops go down over the red teeth. We're going to bring up the next 2 needles. There they are, 1 and 2. We're going to go behind them, around the side. I'm trying to get my hand out of the way here. Around the side and into the middle. Around the other side of the first needle of these 2 and into the middle. And it's behind that second needle now. And we're going to knit them, making sure these needles pick up both strands, and those both strands go down over the red teeth. It sounds much more hard than it is, much more complicated. It actually is pretty easy. We're going to bring up the next 2 needles. Then we're going to go right across. You're getting a long strand here, but you're going across, that's right. You're going to go around the side of that second needle, behind that first needle, around it, and into the center again. Just like that. That's a figure 8 stitch. Knit those 2. I'm going to help this one down. Don't put any extra stress on it or tension. These 2 are up now. I'm going to do the same thing. Boop, boop, boop. Knit them. Bring up the next 2. Just like that. And the next 2. I'm not putting any tension on this yarn. And the next 2. This is row 5. And the next 2, I'm watching for that black divider to come around. If you have not taken a black permanent marker and marked your first, that divider between the last white and the first black, that's a must do. You always see when your row is coming to an end. There we go. And these 2. And 2 more. Now this next row, row 6, we're going to line up the last white and the first black. Then we're going to pop this back into our yarn feeder, just like that. We are going to make sure that we go slow again, because were a fancy stitch and they might have a little bit of difficulty going down over those red teeth. Again, you cannot be in a hurry for this project. And so you're going to just help some of them down. And I just take my hand and I go like this. And I'm watching to make sure both strands go under. Friends, I'm going slowly and being very detailed so that you can learn. But once you do this, you're gonna sail, okay? It's not as slow moving and as complicated as what it might sound. Once you get it, I just gotta take the knot out of my yarn here. Once you get it, you're gonna whip these things up in no time, okay? So that was the first row. That's row of our straight knit. We do 4 rows. So this is row 7, second row of our straight knit after our lace. I just made one just before this one, and I never had one problem with having to use my loom knit pick. So this is 2. So you can see with my 2 fingers, I'm just pushing them down, giving them a little bit of extra help. This is 3, row 3 of straight knit, which is row 8. Every 5th row, you're going to do a lace row. I'm watching for that black divider to come around. There it is. Okay, friends, so that was 4 rows. Now we're going to take it out of our yarn feeder. I'm going to do one more lace row with you, making sure I have slack coming out of both balls. There we go. We're going to make sure it's under that last 2 white ones because we still have to finish knitting them. We're going to bring up the first 2 black in front of that yarn feeder. And we're going to go behind, in front, between. Behind, in front, oops, between. I'll show you better on the next one. Bring up the next 2 needles. Behind, in front, between, behind, in front, between. Figure 8 stitch. So easy to visualize, okay? You're gonna do that all the way around. And when you get really good, you can do it with one hand and not have to use 2 hands. I'm just trying to keep my hands out of the way so that you can see. Okay, just like that. Bring up the next 2. These make excellent kitchen sponges. Just a very gentle, abrasive, that doesn't make sense, a very gentle sponge that you can use to clean your pots and your pans and clean your sinks with. But it also would make an awesome, gentle skin exfoliator, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And so I think that this will be a hit among those who might come to your craft sales, if you do craft sales, or, you know, if you need a little gift for a friend, make a few of these. Add some sponges, add some soap into some of them, and just give a nice gift. There we go. That's my lace round done. Making sure that I end behind that last white and in between the last white and the first black. Then I'm going to pop that back into my yarn guide. Row 10 was just done. So row 11, 12, 13, 14, I'll do straight. I'll see you back when I have that done. I finished row 14. I'm going to open my latch, take out my yarn. It's a little hard to get out sometimes. There we go. Make sure you shut your latch, because if you do this lace round and you leave your latch open, you're going to either break a needle or break this. Risk breaking both. Sorry if you can hear the lawnmower out in my window. My husband's mowing the lawn. Okay, we're going to do row 15 as a lace row. Bringing up the next 2 needles, or the first 2. We're going to do a figure 8. And the next 2, a figure 8. And the next 2. We have just finished row 15. We're going to open our latch. Make sure this goes in between the last white and the first black. You're going to then knit 4 rows. Okay, I'm just going to tell you what to do from here. So you're going to knit 4 straight rows, and then you're going to do 1 more row of lacing, and then you're going to do 4 rows again of just straight knitting. So when you have that done, when you've finished row 24, because this is row 60, I'm doing 4 rows of straight knit, which is 16, 17, 18, and 19. Then row 20, I'm going to do a lace row. And then row 21, 22, 23, and 24, I'll just do 4 rows of straight knit. When I get to the end of that row, I will see you back. Once you have finished row 24, you're going to cut your tail. Open your latch. You're going to pop it in between the last white and the first black. You're going to grab your waste yarn again. You're going to pop that into your yarn feeder, and you're going to knit very slowly this first row, making sure you're changing your yarn texture, so you want to make sure that every needle works properly. There we go. And you're going to knit as many rows as you're comfortable. I do 7. Or until my yarn runs out. I'm going to do 6. Pop that into the center, shut my latch. I'm going to rotate my barrel twice. There we go. And it should have let go. Sometimes on the 22, the last 2 don't let go. So you just help them off. Isn't that pretty? Our piece is off the machine and we're going to give it a little stretch. So beautiful. Maybe in the camera you can't see these as well as what I can see them, but it's beautiful. I love it. Okay, so you're going to find the end that we ended on. So the one where the side where it's coming apart really easily, okay? And we're going to close that side first. You're going to take all your tails out of the center. We're going to grab 2 stitch markers. And you're going to find the one where your waste yarn is coming out of. It's going down this way, and here's the last loop that it's coming out of. We're going to pick up both strands of our working yarn. We're going to go over to the other side, and you'll see where your working yarn is coming out of this loop here. You go to the one right above it. Pick up both strands. Okay, make sure your tails are out. Then you're going to count around, because we want it's a 22 needle, so the very side here is stitch 11 and 12. So I'm going to take my crochet hook. I'm using a 5mm. Doesn't matter what you use. Bigger is harder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So these 2 are my very opposite side. I'm going to go under stitch 12, making sure I pick up both. You have to pick up both. I'm going to count that as number 1 worked. I'm going to go over to the top there and I'm going to pick up those 2 loops, that next stitch, work them through. So now I've done 2. I'm going to come to the bottom here. I'm going to pick up those next 2. And that's 3. You want to count if you're new, because this will be 21, this will be 22, and if it's not, you've missed something and you have to undo it. Go back and start over, because if you miss one of these loops, catching one of these loops, then once you take your waste yarn off, that row will unravel, okay? We'll drop. So then I'm going to go up to here. That's 4. Down to the bottom. 5. Making sure you're picking up both strands and working it. It's a little tough because there's no give in it like in acrylic when you're used to working with acrylic. But hey, we're not scared of tough, are we? We got this. Okay, we're going to keep going all the way across. When you get to the end, it gets pretty tight. So that's why these stitch markers are beautiful, because you just pick up on there. This will be 21. You can just easily pop it out. Yes, they're bobby pins. It's my favorite thing. That's 21. And then you pick up on this one. Get these strands out of the way. And then it helps you to get under it because they are tight. And there you go. That's stitch 22 if you were counting. You're going to take your yarn end here. You're going to yarn over. You're going to pull it through that loop to tighten off, and you're going to press down with your thumb. Then you can easily remove this yarn. If your tail is really, really long, then pop it on a needle and hide it into your seam here, making sure you leave a loop so that you can pull it back out, but then it takes it out of the way so that you don't tangle it around your waste yarn as you're removing it. But mine's short enough, I don't have to do that. There we go. We have a beautiful, beautiful edge. I'm going to get rid of this tail right away. Go ahead and use, a metal needle. I just dropped all my needles, or most of them. A metal needle, because if you use one like this are my favorite needles, and they have those little loops in them. This is hard to pull through this, and I used the needle the first time, and this loop just popped right out. And I don't even think I was putting much pressure on it, so, me and my needles. But we're going to take this metal one, and I don't want to hide it into there because I don't want my tails to come out through those things. So I'm just going to go underneath that first stitch, just like that, pull it through, go the opposite direction underneath that stitch, and then under the third one, then back up under the second one, back up under the first one, just like that. And then I'm just going to pick up just a couple of these bars at the top here. Pull it through. That yarn tail is not going anywhere. And I'm going to cut it off. And we've got that end done. Beautifully done. All right, so taking the other end, we're going to take our stitch markers again. This is the beginning of our project, and so our yarn tail goes out instead of in. And the very last, or the very stitch that's going through, so if I was to pull on this yarn tail right here, that stitch that it's going through is the one you're going to put your stitch marker in. Stick with me, friends, even if you've done this a lot, because we are going to do it a little bit differently than we normally do, and I'll show you in a second here. And then we're going to take our working yarn here, and the loop that's right beside it, we're going to get under both of those stitches. Okay, you're going to grab your crochet hook, and you're going to grab your yarn. I'm going to still stick with 2 strands, so you want to have your stitch markers to the right, and I went ahead and cut this tail off. Okay, then you're going to take your 2 strands, you're going to put a slip knot in, but you're going to take it off your hook. You're just going to use your hook to help you make your slip knot, and there you go. I'm going to just take that off my hook. I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to insert it under this first stitch with the bobby pin that's closest to me. I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to loop this over my hook and get these short tails out of the way, and I'm going to bring it through. There we go. And then I'm going to just yarn over and pull through. And that just is how I start it. Then I'm going to go into that next one, and you're going to want to count because you want to make sure you work all 22 stitches. And you also want to make sure you go under both strands. So I'm going to yarn over, bring it through that stitch, bring it through the loop on my hook. That's a slip stitch. That's one. Now we're going to go into the next one, getting both strands. Yarn over, bring it through the loop, and bring it through the loop. Now you don't have to be a crocheter to figure this out, okay? You just have to take your time and you will get it. Go into that next loop, picking up both strands, yarn over, bring it through, and bring it through. And you see our working stitch here, like the stitch that are done, the right side of that stitch is on the right side of our work, and that's why we moved our bobby pins to the right side. Don't want to work from the inside. And I'm going to go ahead and then into the next stitch, pick up both strands, yarn over, bring through, bring through. This is a slip stitch. Yarn over, bring through, bring through. Go to the next one. Again, I can't emphasize enough, make sure you're picking up both strands. And make sure that you have a nice, you don't want a tight tension on this. You just want it to just slip through your fingers. Okay. I know I say the word K all the time. It's as though I'm teaching you in a class and I can see you and I'm wanting you to acknowledge that you kind of get it. It's a natural thing for me to do. I get comments about it. I do, but that's okay. This is who I am, and it's how I speak. It's hard to talk to a camera sometimes when you don't have people talking back. So forgive all my little verbal nuances that might bug you. And I'm going to just continue around, and we're going to pick up each loop till we get to the end. Almost there. Getting all these strands out of your way. And again, if you're new to doing this, make sure you count your loops so that you don't miss one. I'm on 21. Here's my bobby pin. I'm going to pull up on it so I can get under there. I can take this one out. And I'm going to slip stitch. That's 22. Then I'm going to go over to this first one. Here's why we leave it in. I'm going to pick up on it, and I'm going to go under it one more time, just to join. Getting those shorter strands out of the way. There we go. Then I'm going to take my tails actually, I'm going to stick with this long tail. I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to cut it off. Pull it through. That is now knotted off. We can remove our waste yarn and then we'll take care of these other tails. To remove our waste yarn at the beginning of the project, we have to roll up our end here and we have to see which way that this is going, and it's coming from here. So I'm going to roll up about 5 or 6 stitches down. I'm going to pinch that stitch and I'm going to pull out that top row just like this. I'm going to go down 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 stitches, however much you want. Pinch the stitch and pull out that top row. Continuing around, I pinch the stitch so it doesn't gather all in here while I'm pulling, and it just makes for a nice even removal. I'm going over these strands as I pull this black so they don't get all tangled. If they were any longer, I would hide them. There we go. And there's our piece so far. Isn't it pretty? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each of these strands. I'm going to take 2 at a time. First off, making sure that they're all tied off. This working yarn is right here. This was my last strand that I cut off when we added the waste, before we added the waste yarn. I want to make sure that that is knotted off really good and proper. You need to make sure that yours is too. So go ahead, tie a firm knot, and again. And then friends, I'm going to take 2 at a time. And we are going to hide our ends. Just like that. I'm going to go underneath one of those slip stitches, back the other direction. And 3 is enough. Coming back to number 2, number 1. And then I just do, for extra measure, I just go around these little loops just like this. Just for 3. It's good and snug. Cut it off. Do it to the other ends that you have and go on this side too so you don't get a really big lump there. And once you have those done, I'll see you back. Taking our little clover wonder knitter and our loom pick and 1 strand of our cotton yarn, we're going to pop that yarn into the center. Friends, you can find this clover wonder knitter. The link is in the description box below. Click on it and I'll show you where you can get it. You are going to want to have one of these things. There's there's another thing that you can put in here to make a bigger cord, but we're going to use the small one. It's only 3 prongs. So you're going to put your yarn into the center. You're going to grab it with your hand there to hold it tight. Then we're going to take it to the right side of a peg and around. Turn it with your thumb. Take it to the right side of the next peg and around, and we're going to do that for the 3rd one. That's simply how you cast on. You're going to stick this in the little yarn feeder, and you're going to hold that with your finger. I'm just going to grab it like that just for a second so I can push that down. And I hold it with my 3rd finger, but just for now, I'm going to hold it just like that, just so that I can get this started. Then we're going to just turn with our thumb and take that bottom loop over the top, just like so. Give it another turn, and I'm going to just switch it because I like to hold it with my middle finger. I think for me it just works better. You're going to turn it, and you're going to knit off. Give it a turn, and knit off. So I'm holding this one secure for now. Eventually you can let it go. But for now, all we're going to do, I have it just light tension with my finger just to hold it in place so it doesn't fall out of here or just, loop over top of there. And I'm going to turn with my thumb and knit off. Turn and knit. See how beautiful this is? Like, seriously, you guys. So fun. And it takes no time at all. Once I get a few done, I'm going to take this and I'm going to pull it down. You can see that cord's already starting to come. We're just going to keep going. Doesn't matter which peg you started on or which peg you end on, to be honest. You just keep going till you get it the length you want. And here we go. Round and round and round. See how fun that is? Like, look how long that is already. And I'm going to just keep going around just like that. Taking my thumb, rotating it till I get to the next one. I have a very loose tension. It's under my third finger there. I'm just holding it in place. Every once in a while, you'll pull down. Okay? So I have a light tension on here, but not much. And this works up quite fast, you guys. You can go ahead and do a double strand if you prefer that. For this soap sack or sponge sack, I just want a really lightweight string that goes around, because I don't want it to get in the way when I'm washing dishes, or if you're using it as a soap sack, washing your body. You don't want these yarn tails like the strand to get in the way. So I'm going to just make it 1.5 times the circumference of this. So as long as it measures back, forth, 1, 2, 3, that would be going around 1.5 times. That is what I'm going to do. Okay, or thereabouts. I'm going to continue on my merry way, enjoying the process because I love this little Clover Wonder knitter. I absolutely love it. I am going to have a link posted in the description box below. If you click on it, it will take you to the Amazon site where you can find it, okay? So make sure you look down below. Always look down underneath my video. When you hit that little word more, it's the description box. We call it the description box under the video, and often I will write things in there that you need to know. I'll have the name of the yarn that I'm using, the size of the ball in grams and yards, and whatever information I want to put on there for you is what you'll want to be sure and make sure you read, okay? See, if I pull this, look at just talking to you, I've got that there, and then almost the second time, and I just got to go 3 times. Look how beautiful that is. So keep going till you have all the way around, and then another half, and I'll see you back when you're done. I believe I have made it, so I'm going to just hold that like that, get that length to here. Then I'm going to go like this, and then like this. A little bit longer, but perfect, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to cast off. You're going to cut a yarn tail, not that long. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this on our little needle. If I can get it through there. There we go. And then I'm going to just keep turning this. This is the first one that comes up. I'm going to go under it, pick it up with my needle. Oops, be careful the other ones don't fall off. Then I'm going to do that to this second one. Put your thumb in the center there and that will help. And then you can take this one off, but I'm going to go ahead and put this loop on before I take that second one off. I think it'll be easier. There we go. Go ahead and remove that loop and this loop. Pull up your piece. Give that a nice tug. And when that's done, we're going to take our little sack and we're going to find the middle. So there's about the middle stitch. Then we're going to go over 1 row. Now I have the point of the stitch is down here and the wide part of the stitch is up here. We're going to go right into the center of that stitch and pull this through, leaving a tail here. We're going to then, here's the next row right here. There's my V. We're going to miss that one and come up where the other next row is. Where is it? There it is. Right here. So I'm going to go from under the underside up through the center of that stitch and pull this through. Don't pull too tight because it's very easy to pull this out. I was part way around it. I pulled too tight and the whole thing came out. From here, I'm going to miss a row. That's this row. I'm going to go into this row. Very center of the stitch. And if you're using these needles, don't pull, like to get it through, don't hang onto your needle. Hang onto your yarn tail and pull, otherwise you'll break your needle. Then from the underside, I'm going to miss this row and come up through the center stitch of this one, and I'm going to do this all the way around. Very easy to do. This cord is the perfect width. Here's where my join was. I'm going to go right. I'm going to take a different row. This right here. If you have to do that because one row is too tight, go ahead and do that. and up through this one and down. This is going to work out perfectly, and up right beside where the other one is, just like that. And I've got my cord in. We're going to take our end pieces here, tie off a firm knot to secure. That's 1 and 2, and then hide that down into your work. Give it a tug, cut it off, do that with the other side. Now that we've completed that adorable little sponge sack or soap sack, I'm going to tell you the measurements. It is almost 4 inches across and 5 3/4 inches long. And these sponges are going to fit, well, I'll measure the sponge for you too in case your sponges are a little bit different. This is 4.5 by just over 2.5. Okay. And we're going to take that little sponge, we're going to shove it down into here. I can't wait to use these. I can't wait. I think that they're going to work so beautifully. The yellow one in this shows so nicely through. Take your little tie. Look at that. There it is. Put a tiny bow on it. There it is. Have a cute little bow. Not going to get in the way. It's perfect. Okay. Here's another one that I made. A blue one, and I didn't do the cord for it. I just took a double strand, so 1 piece of cotton and 1 piece of nylon, and just weaved it through in and out just like we did with this one, and just tied it off. Now I did this one just to show you in case you do not have a clover maker and can't make this cord. This is the option. It looks very nice too. If you have the clover or you're able to get it, I think it just adds a nicer touch to it. I think it's very pretty. Sitting on your counter drying, that would be beautiful, but either way works. Okay, I'm going to now show you what it looks like with the soap in it. So what I did first of all is I put a cord in this blue one. I switched it out just so you can see now. And I actually put it on the side instead of in the center. So there's a little difference there. There you go. I love it. Just a little option for you. Okay, I'm going to set those aside. Take this beautiful soap sack that I made, and I am going to take my specialty soap that I love. I was given a gift with 4 of these in a beautiful box. And I'm going to pop that in there. And friends, if you're using a bar of soap that's a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller in length, then just move your cord down a bit or leave out one section of the repeat. And then we're going to just tie this. These are short, and so they're a little bit hard to tie, but again, I don't want the cords in my way, so I'd rather take the effort to tie it and have it short. And once it gets wet and then it dries, it's gonna hold this little bow together a little bit better, but there we go. It's so pretty. Just loving it. So we have our soap sack. How beautiful is that? And we also have our kitchen sponges. I hope you've enjoyed this project. I, again, would love to see the color combinations that you've chosen and to see your finished product. So please be sure and post in my Facebook group. And again, friends, if you're posting in different Facebook groups, because we're all in more than one Facebook group, please be sure to add the link. If you do that for me, it means a lot, because then it directs people to my channel. So thanks again for your support in that, and thanks for joining me. It's always a pleasure to spend this time with you. Have a blessed day.